I'm with our GOP chairwoman, Elise Stefanik from New York, and we are going to expunge the impeachments of President Trump. And I'm very glad to let you know that the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, came out in support.
I think it is appropriate just to let that before. And you should expunge it because it demonstrates on.
Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy discussing new efforts to erase the two impeachments of former President Donald Trump from the congressional record. Joining us now, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist and associate editor of The Washington Post, Eugene Robinson. And, Gene, your latest piece is entitled, "Moves to Expunge Trump's Impeachments Would Be Laughable, If Not So Dangerous." And in it, you write in part, quote, "The right-wing media echo chamber will treat the expungement as legitimate, which would make the impeachment somehow illegitimate. The nation's information gap, already a canyon, will further widen. For the record, expunging a presidential impeachment is not a thing. It has never been attempted because it makes no sense. Both of Trump's House impeachments led to trials in the Senate, as the Constitution instructs. Is the Senate supposed to pretend that those trials, which ended in acquittals, never happened? What about the pages in the congressional record that chronicled the impeachment proceedings? Would they be ripped out and destroyed, sent to Mar-a-Lago for Trump to hoard in one of his cardboard boxes with his golf shirts and newspaper clippings? I guess you can't help but to joke because it is so ridiculous. But I have to tell you, every day as we look at national security secrets, nuclear information potentially stolen by a former president, and evidence of that coming up, you do have right-wing media and other claim to be news networks and websites and all covering what they believe the equivalent is, which would be Hunter Biden going to the state dinner or something like that. And we see legitimate, important news that is potentially critical to our country's national security being thrown away at will by those who just don't want to consider it real.
Exactly. This is one of the biggest and most serious problems facing this country today and facing our democracy, in my opinion, is the information gap, is the fact that in the right-wing media ecosystem, Hunter Biden is the only story worth telling, and President Trump's impeachments, they were, maybe they happened. Now it's going to be that in fact they did never happen. It's like an alternative universe timeline, and how can we have a democracy if we can't agree on basic facts, if we can't agree on what happened, on what we saw with our own eyes, on what is written in the congressional record? It is laughable on one hand, but it threatens to widen this gap that keeps us from talking across the divide, that keeps us from moving forward as a nation. And I think this just makes it that much worse. And look, this has the support of the Speaker of the House. It's amazing.
And Jen, when you look at just the Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker, given another chance here to be the adult in the room and to say, stop with the nonsense, let's move forward, let's get some legislation passed, let's do things for the people who voted for us, taking a pass on that, and again, fanning the flames of this stuff that comes from the extremes of his party. I mean, we're talking about looking to the past again, just as a political question. Let's look back to 2020. Let's look back at Hunter Biden. Let's look back at all this stuff rather than looking ahead, as the man you once worked for, President Biden, is attempting to do, even with this Congress that he has to deal with.
That's right. I mean, Willie, I think it's pretty clear that Kevin McCarthy is motivated right now by fear of losing the speakership, fear of angering the base of Republicans, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, whatever the collection of people from the circus wing of the party is. He's fearful of angering them and angering the Trump base because he wants to hold on to the speakership. Now, we don't know whether or not Kevin McCarthy thinks truthfully this is the right strategy as speaker or the right thing he should be doing as speaker because he's so motivated by that fear. It is, as Eugene just said, it is startling and it is alarming because this is not what Congress is elected to do. This is not what the speaker is supposed to be doing. But we also know that the contrast is quite stark between kind of leading the House of Representatives down a rabbit hole of trying to expunge impeachments versus actually trying to get something done. And I think what a lot of Democrats are betting on, and I spoke with Speaker Pelosi, and she's betting on this over the weekend, is that the American public is smart and they will look at this and think, look, that is chaotic and crazy and I don't even know what they're trying to do over there. I would like the people who are representing me to do something. We won't know until the election, but I think that's what a lot of Democrats in leadership and Democrats running the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee and certainly the Biden campaign is betting on.
The Washington Post's Eugene Robinson, thank you very much for sharing your piece with us this morning.